I'm Mary Beth. I am a landscape designer. I own a small business in the Santa Clarita Valley called Songbird Garden Design. Basically, my job is to assist people with creating beautiful outdoor space, either at their front, their backyards, and just to make it a beautiful, comfortable, sometimes practical living outdoor space. I wasn't always a landscape designer. I spent many years in various jobs, from the entertainment industry to the insurance business, music being my first love, but then art, painting, sculpturing, drawing was always a love of mine, something that was creative. So I decided to go back to school much later on in my life, in about 2011. I took 3 years of landscape designing and then started my own business after I was certified. So I'm telling you this because I want you to know it's never too late to take up a new course in your life. Don't be afraid to make changes. I find gardening is a great way to relax, to de-stress, to get out anxiety, to spend a little time alone with yourself, just to be outdoors. It's really been very helpful for me to really bring my stress level down in life. And it's just a nice feeling at the end of a season or even at the end of a project where you step back and you go, hey man, I made that. That looks really nice. Or wow, I grew that. I planted that a few months ago and look at it now. Something you could be proud of and watch it grow and nurture. So I'd like to start with this project. It's just planting something in a pot, because some of you may not live in a house. Like I grew up in an apartment, so I didn't have any place to garden. So I had a lot of pots at my windows. So I'd like to start with creating beautiful little pots. And you know what they're so great for gifts, for mom and dad or grandma, and there's just so many things you could do with it. You're going to need a few things to start. You're going to need a bag of soil. You can get that at any hardware store. It doesn't have to be a large bag, just a couple pounds of soil. Some stones. You could either buy a bag of stones, which I think it's a waste of money. You could just go in your backyard, find some stones about the size of quarters, and you'll need plants, of course. So let's start with the pots. Always take a pot that has holes in the bottom. You're going to need to make sure that pot has drainage. Never put or plant anything in a solid base pot. Like this is pretty and this is pretty, but there's no holes for drainage. And what happens is, if you water this plant, that water just sits at the bottom of these pots and it starts to rot the roots. You can smell it after a while too, and the plants start to wilt and die. So I'm going to start with this. This is about 10 inches. I like to layer the bottom with some stones, and I do that again for drainage. You want to make sure those roots have really a lot of space to drain through. So I just take a handful and put that right at the bottom of the pot. I'll show you there. Okay, so that's just one layer right at the bottom. Now, here is the trick about container plants. There is 3 words I want you to remember. It's thrill, spill, and fill. What does that mean? Well, the thrill, of course, is the plant you choose to make your statement. Now, I chose this. This is a echinacea, or a coneflower. Beautiful. It is a perennial. What does that mean? There's 2 types of plants, perennials and annuals. Perennials will come back year after year. It'll flower at a particular season. The flowers will die back. Usually it keeps its leaves. Sometimes it doesn't, depending on the plant you pick. But then the next season it'll flower again. So perennials are really nice because if you give that as a gift, especially year after year when it blooms, that person will think about you. At least that's how I feel about it. So this is my thrill. The spill is something that hangs over the side of the pot. That gives it a little more dramatic effect. That looks nice. Now this is oregano. most people don't know this, but various herbs do bloom flowers. So, I mean, you could also eat it, of course, but I love oregano, the smell, and has these little blooms. So it serves two purposes. One, looks beautiful, and you can use it as an herb. So that's your spill. So thrill, spill, and then fill. You'll have space still left over in the plant. So you want to pick something that's not going to grow as tall as your thrill and won't crowd your spill. So this is a begonia. I chose these colors to complement the colors of the coneflower. So let's get started. I'm just using my gloves here. Okay, first thing you do is just squeeze out that pot. Gently tip it upside down, loosen it up. Now you'll see all those roots. Yeah, this pot's been sitting a while because you see the roots are a little girdled. That's not the greatest thing, but it won't hurt the plant if we kind of loosen those roots up. So I like to just give it a squeeze all the way around. Okay, we'll just put that in there for now. Off to one side. I don't like to put it right in the middle. I put it off to one side. It's just a designer tip. Okay, then I'll take my fill again. Now this is about $3. You'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little plants. So you don't have to use all of these, but if I was giving it as a gift, I might want to just pack it in there just so it looks pretty. And then you could tell the person they could actually separate these and plant them in a nice shady part of their garden. So I'm just going to loosen it up gently, turn it upside down. Sometimes they're hard to get out, I'll tell you. Okay, great. You see, there's about 6 of them. I'm going to use all of them. Like I said, it's going to get crowded, but it'll look so pretty. All right, and I'll put that right there on the side. And then the spill. So we got the thrill, the fill, and now here's the spill. Loosen up that soil a bit. Put that on the side, take out the tags. You might want to save those tags though, because it'll tell you how much sun it needs, and sometimes it'll even give you like a zone. A zone is, in gardening, we all live in a certain gardening zone. Sometimes that tag will tell you if this plant is right for our zone. In Santa Clarita, we live in the Sunset Zone 18, or in the USDA, which stands for the United States Department of Agriculture. We live in Zone 9. So one of those is, either one of those is good. All right, now what? Now we've got to get some soil to fill in all those spaces. So I got a big bag here. You certainly don't need a bag this big. But you just take it and fill in the rest. Now, depending on the size of the plant, sometimes I'll put the soil on the bottom to start it out, so it has a nice base. But this guy was pretty big. But you really should have. I should have done that. Put a little soil on the bottom to start it out with, and then just fill in the rest. Make sure that the plant kind of sits at the surface. The roots sit at the surface of the pot, so those roots don't get soggy. Now, some of you may have people in your family that are in the landscape design business or just the landscape business. It's a big market here business-wise for maintenance. And I just want to talk, while I'm doing this, I just want to talk to you young people about careers. There are so many careers available in horticulture or agriculture that you don't really know about unless you ask. Anything from landscape design to agriculture, where we have the science of growing fruits and vegetables, to landscape maintenance. Every time you turn on a baseball game, go Dodgers, the field has to be maintained. Now that's a whole science in itself. I had the pleasure of going out to Dodger Stadium a couple years ago and meet the groundskeeper. My goodness, it's complicated how each part of the field has different types of grasses and how that has to look good all the time because it's on TV and the world is watching. So that guy's got a high pressure job. But again, that's part of the horticulture business. So there's just lots of things you could do. You could ask your guidance counselor about that. Okay, so now we've got the thrill, we've got the spill, and we've got the fill. I'm going to add a little more soil at the bottom of this. See, it's sitting too low in the pot. I'm going to add more soil. I don't want that fill to sit so low. Okay, there, I think we've got it just about right. So we've got our thrill, our spill, and our fill. And make sure you give that a good water. And when you do that, you'll see that the water will drain out the bottom. That's perfect. Let it really get soaked really through and let that water drain. And that's with every time you water it. You should probably water this, well, this time of year, maybe a couple times a week. Just take a look at it, stick your finger into the soil. If it's dry, give it some more water, but make sure it drains through. And what's so nice about this, you give this as a gift. People will look at it year after year that it blooms and they'll think of you, which I think is extra special. And speaking of gifts, there is a nice idea I have as well for a Christmas gift. You can buy some herbs. I chose basil, rosemary, and thyme. And I reuse this pot I had from last Christmas. I think I had something Christmassy in it. I don't remember exactly what. It's a plastic pot, and plastic pots are really good for a couple of reasons. One, they're cheap, much cheaper than a ceramic pot. They are lightweight, so once that gets filled up with rocks and soil and plants, a pot like this could get heavy for somebody, so the plastic is a lot lighter to carry around. And three, it keeps the soil moist longer. Ceramic pots, especially in this heat in California, dries out really fast. So those are some reasons why I like to choose the plastic pots. And they have some now that come in really nice colors and they almost look like glass. Anyway, so I chose the basil, the rosemary, and the thyme. And once again, you can, my thrill, spill, and fill. And you could put that in any kind of a pot for a Christmas gift or any kind of a gift for someone in your life that loves to cook. So they have herbs right there in the kitchen. I love that idea. And they can then take those and plant them in their garden too. So, this gift just keeps on giving and giving as far as I'm concerned. This is a wonderful, wonderful idea. And as far as the pots are concerned, you don't have to buy anything expensive. I'll tell you, this guy right here, I was jogging one morning and I saw this old tin watering can on the side of the road. It was just sitting there in the street. So I picked it up and I drilled a hole in the bottom so it has drainage, and I made it into a planter. And I love shopping at garage sales and at the Goodwill. There are so many pots and planters you could pick up for $1 or $1 and just be creative and make something beautiful out of it. It doesn't have to be expensive, and what's so nice, it comes from the heart. It's something you made that you're giving of yourself. So I just think it's a lovely idea for gift giving. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about flowers or gardening, I'm going to leave my email address at the bottom of the video. You can just drop me a line and I'll do my best to answer any of your questions. So thanks for watching, and remember, take care of yourself now. We're going through some really stressful times, and we're going to get through this. We stick together. We're going to get through this just fine. So try not to stress. Get that anxiety down. Take a deep breath. Try some gardening. See if it helps. Okay, for now, bye and take care of yourself.